Welcome to the Sports Writers Remote again here on our Zoom. Phil Stacey, Matt Williams, Nick Kukaru, and Rick Moore, and myself, Bill Newell from MSONewsports.com. And so, Phil, we've made a lot of progress in the last 7 days since the last time we talked on this. And the fact is that schools, as we discussed a week ago, their school committees are saying, yeah, go ahead, play Fall One sports if you want. That's what's happening. And now ADs are meeting. Cape Ann League ADs met. NEC ADs met on Friday here. And so we've got some news happening, right?
Yeah, and it's for a change, it's good news. You know, we haven't had much of that in the last 6+ months, but this is certainly good news with schools getting the go-ahead, at least the majority in both the Cape Ann League and the Northeastern Conference. Cape Ann League met on Thursday, hashed out some schedules for golf, for boys and girls cross country, boys and girls soccer, and field hockey. They're going to play anywhere between 10 or 9 and 12 games or matches, and there'll be a little postseason tournament within the league at the end of the season. I think the way they had it listed on the various schedules that I looked at was round 1 and round 2. So it's not like anything super complicated. It's just 2 days worth of tournaments. I think it's the second week of November. So that's exciting. And we just got word on Friday that the Northeastern Conference is following a similar pattern where they'll be playing golf, again, boys and girls soccer, boys and girls cross country, and field hockey. No postseason tournament for the conference, though. No postseason tournaments there. But they'll be starting right around, I think it's October 5th or 6th. Got to remember, all sports need at least 11 practice days, with the exception of golf, which needs 7. Practices started on Friday. So that's why you see the dates the way that they are. And it's important to note, too, as we've talked about before, schools that are in the red are not participating initially. So right now, that's Lynnfield and the Cape Ann League, although they're hoping to be out of it. Lynn English, Lynn Classical, Winthrop, and Saugus, which just went back into the red in the Northeastern Conference. So if any of those schools did come out of that red designation, that COVID-19 designation, they would need to likely get it approved by their school committees before they can play.
Yeah. And we know that if you're in the red, you're not practicing either, right? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Although, I did see that Lynnfield had some games and golf matches scheduled on the Cape Ann League schedule. So maybe they're hopeful that this is only a temporary thing and they can get out of it, and that the Pioneers can play some game this fall.
Matt, Nick, you want to add to that? Anything?
I think the cool thing about the Cal quote unquote tournament is that everybody's involved, right? So it's gonna almost run like the bean pot. So it's not like if you lose, you're out. If you finish 5th or 6th in the standings, you're out. There's gonna be, they got 12 teams now, I think. So as long as Lynnfield does get back and nobody else goes red, they'll have 3 pods of 4, and everybody gets 2 extra games at the end of the year. So I think it's cool that way that everybody gets to play.
Those would be some stacked tournaments, particularly boys and girls soccer. Those would be those pretty much those are pretty hyped. I can't wait to see those.
Well, are there 12 teams, or is it fewer than that? I thought it was less than 12. I could be wrong.
I thought I counted yesterday on the top. They had 12 logos. Now maybe they didn't change the maybe they haven't updated the logos there on Cal Scores yet. I didn't actually look at them, but I counted across. There was
okay.
Did you see the mask?
Anyway.
Did you see the
mask?
mask?
10. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see the Masco logo there, Matt?
I don't read there. It's all black and white. So I didn't, I just counted. I might have been delinquent in my responsibilities.
And I'm thinking too, like there are some schools that don't have football, say like Rockport, that are obviously still in the Cape Ann League. So you could be right.
Yeah.
I could pull it up while we're chatting. Not that we want to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's got 12 there. Amesbury, Georgetown. Yeah, Masco is still there. Yeah, so it's 11. So they got to update that.
Matt, I have to leave for hockey soon.
Okay, this is live, so. It reminds me of the old wrestling situation. Psycho Sid, said something awful, and he stopped himself and he said, can we retape that? And Jim Ross looks at him and says, "This is live, pal." So everybody look up that blooper after that one.
Yeah, we don't know how to edit, so you're safe, Matt. That's the way it is.
That's
A
right.
lot of folks look at these and they think, man, these are highly rehearsed, orchestrated presentations
Oh,
week
yeah.
after week. And, case in point, look at Phil here. Man, yeah. So
Yeah. you
what
can
is
tell.
that T-shirt? Speaking of, what do you got for a T-shirt there, Phil? What is that? I can't.
Oh, that's it says Bradfo Show. That's our buddy Rob Bradford has
Okay.
a podcast, and I don't know, I was on it before and got a free T-shirt. So
Man.
I'm gonna wear it to go running after we finish this. So there you go.
And all the times you were with us, you never got a shirt from, or a hat, or a key ring, or anything from us. Yeah.
No, but you know what? This is where my loyalty lies. So that's how it goes.
Incidentally, Rob lit into the Celtics last night and their inability to solve the zone defense. And I saw someone commented, "Well, what do you know?" And I wanted to say, "Well, have you ever seen Covenant Christian play? They know how to beat that zone defense." So
That's right, yeah. And
maybe
an
Coach
excellent
Bradford and Coach Hope
boys
know a little
basketball
more.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Hey, he played at Brewster Academy, nationally powerhouse Brewster Academy. So,
Real deal.
yeah,
I love
real
it.
deal.
You two guys talking some hoops here right out of the blue here. Not even being pressed. Yeah.
I'm probably a bad luck charm for the Celtics. I don't watch too many NBA games, and I watched the last two, so that's probably not a good sign if you're a green teamer.
They've
Yeah,
come
what are you
back.
gonna do?
Yeah, they've come back before in this, but we'll see, huh?
We shall see. But it's exciting to have the fall stuff back. You know what I noticed too, in typing in some of the schedules we have, for the first time in 31 years doing this, I'm seeing there are golf matches on the weekend, like Saturdays and Sundays, which you never saw before. But I think it's more, when the courses are available, like Bishop Fenwick, the Meadow is open at, it's got time for a 2.5-hour slot Sunday at 3 p.m. Okay, we're playing, Archbishop Williams Sunday at 3 p.m. kind of thing. So it's all very different, all kind of neat. In fact, I have a story in today's Salem News and Gloucester Times about just how, there are so many changes in pulling this off in the fall that I really feel like we should try to embrace them. It may not be perfect. It's not, what we know to be the games of, say, like every rule in soccer or field hockey or whatnot. But, there's going to have to be sacrifices made to make this succeed. And I really believe that the fall season is going to be a litmus test for what potentially could happen in the winter and beyond as far as high school athletics go. So it's really vital that social distancing is maintained, the mask wearing continues, they're following these new rules and guidelines placed into the specific sports, so that if they play a winter sport or some of their friends play winter sports, they have a chance to actually do those. It's what happens now. I think that's going to affect the rest of the school year, at least athletically. Yeah. And anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
That's a good point, Phil, and I think it is a test to see how this thing goes. And if things start to get better, then you can open up again. But playing under these restrictive new guidelines or new rules on the field could take place for quite a while yet. And there'll be a lot of stuff to iron out, I'm sure, as things go along. I want to ask you guys. I saw in today's Gloucester Times the Manchester and the Rockport schedules, and I did notice a lot of 10 a.m. starts and 3 p.m. starts. Did you see that, Nick? Were you like the 10 a.m.s? Were they all weekends, or what was that?
Yeah, they were all weekends. I think Columbus Day might have had one 10 a.m. start as well. But it was mostly Saturday 10 a.m.s, which I don't know. I like the look of those. No deadline crunch or anything like that. That sounds excellent.
Yeah. And they've been doing that for years with Cape Ann League baseball games. So it's not super unusual for the league to do that.
Right. But I did notice a lot of early afternoon ones too, like 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. And I think the 3 p.m. games especially are a little different.
And as we going back to what you were talking about earlier, I mean, I think that a lot of us, as we've been saying in the last month or two here, a couple of months, is that it's great to be at a point where you're stepping back out onto the field in some way, whether it be baby steps, carrying that, analogy along a little bit here, but it is a good thing at least to give it a try, see what happens, and hopefully things will work. We do have some schools, some of the private schools are in full, all students are in, I believe, in some of these private schools, albeit spaced, all being scheduled different than they would be in the past. But it's at least somebody's trying it, and I think we'll get some information from it, and hopefully things go well.
What's the deal with transportation? I'm sorry, Phil. What's the deal with transportation? Because I think I read again in Gloucester there was something going on last week about it, but is there a problem with kids on the buses under the guidelines and stuff?
Yeah, well, it seemed to be at last week's school committee meeting, but they spent about less than 5 minutes on it this week, and it didn't seem to be an issue at all. So that seemed to be the big hang-up last week. And then this week, I think once they realized that the games were cut in half and that they won't need more buses, it kind of averages out to be the same anyways.
You just put the varsity and JV teams on 2 buses as opposed to putting everybody on 1 bus. I'm sure they make it so everybody has their own seat. It's probably spaced apart that way. And, as Nick said, with half the games, that mitigates half the cost you would have had. So even if you add an extra bus for, say, like a Gloucester going to a game at Peabody, it all evens out in the end because you're not paying twice the cost for the same amount of games you would have had. If that makes sense.
Gentlemen, other thoughts on, in talking to coaches, I know I asked this question last week, and what are you hearing from coaches? I know there have been a couple of stories I've read, where some coaches are with the reduced players on the field, they're okay with that. Others critical of that. But I guess that comes with the territory. Not everyone, if you're a field hockey coach, you want your full complement of players out there because that's the way you teach the game and are familiar with the game. But it seems again, one-time deal. This is the way to do it. It seems like the right call.
Well, look at it this way. Old-time Major League Baseball guys probably would have never dreamed ever of playing a game that extra innings started with a runner on second base. But things change in a pandemic, or when you have to play multiple double headers and they decide, okay, it's going to be 7 innings is the deal. You don't have to play 9. Like, that's how it goes. When Bill Belichick first started as a, rookie rube coach with the Colts in '75, I don't think quarterbacks were any more protected than left tackles were, but things change. So, to complain, to have it back and then complain about the rules changes to me is almost like a slap in the face to the people that are trying to get this back. They're trying to do the best they can to get these games played, but hey, we're still in a pandemic. It's not like this has gone away because we're able to do this. So, I think these are the things that are being done to maintain social distancing and try to keep people safe. And it's just how it goes.
I think just to add to that,
coaches I talked to find it was a level playing field at least. Everybody's going to have to deal with the same changes. It's not any different for anybody else. So it's it's going to be interesting. They're still figuring out how to kind of scheme these things. So we might see some pretty interesting out of the box things coming up.
Matt?
Definitely. And I think just to add to that, I would say, we don't know what it's going to look like yet, right? Because this is all new. We haven't played any games. We don't know how strict the officials are going to be. It might be like the strike zone in baseball where every official is a little bit different as far as what they allow for intermittent contact and things like that. So I guess my one, thing I would add to what Phil said, and he's right, but is that as we go along here, let's not be afraid to constructively criticize what's going on, because these rules, maybe they need to be adjusted. Maybe there are things we can learn as we see how these games play out that can make them better used to, kind of thing. So I think one of the reasons you're not getting much feedback yet is we just don't know. It's going to be really hard to judge what the differences are. And, maybe some of the stuff will be really good, like we've seen in Major League Baseball.
Can I ask, by the way, it looks like there's a goal post behind you, but I'm guessing that's
Yeah.
not what it is. But like an old-time football goal post.
It's a awning of some kind. It is an awning of some kind without the curtain on it, because it is a very strange size, and it's hard to find and cost prohibitive to get made special.
Okay. I was like, oh, that's cool. You like an old football field or something? That's pretty inventive. But okay,
Yeah,
carry on.
It's really just a place where birds can perch these days.
Okay.
Maybe next week we should go to a football field or somewhere like that. We should all go to a special location. That's not a bad idea, Phil.
Sure.
I don't know.
10 yards apart. It'd be all right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I may be revealing state secrets, so I'll leave the locale ambiguous. But there was a time when Phil possessed a key to a local stadium. I don't know if he still has it or if the lock has been changed.
I do have it, and I haven't had to use it in a few years, but that's a good question. Yes.
I don't know.
I wish I had that when I was a kid, when we used to go there and play tackle football, use the actual field to do that. So
Nick just has bolt cutters, so whatever.
that's the Gloucester way.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Hey, how about the Patriots? NFL's underway, and the Pats pick up a win. Tom Brady doesn't pick up a win. It's funny. You guys were, we were talking about the rule changes with Bill Belichick a minute ago, back when in 1975, and the way quarterbacks, were treated back then, and Brady's setting all these records because of his age. But back then, you were lucky if you got out of bed if you were a quarterback at 39 years old. And, back in those days, Blanda, right, when I was a kid, he would kick field goals. He was a quarterback, but he didn't play. He was like in his mid-40s, 46, I think he got to kick point afters or whatever he did at the time. But any thoughts from you guys on what you saw this weekend from the Patriots?
You get the hat, Nick. You start.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought they looked fine. To be honest, I think if Cam Newton takes care of the ball, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make the playoffs. I'm not sure they'll win this week, though. I think Seattle's probably just flat out better than them. But I mean, I thought they were pretty good. They were one terrible N'Keal Harry play away from it being a blowout.
Yeah. I was surprised overall at the level of competence in the league. And I'm wondering what you think of that, guys, because with no preseason games, boy, they go right into the season. And like the Patriots had, 3 minimal penalties in that game. And the other games I turned around, it looked like pretty high efficiency.
Yeah. I'm just so glad it's back. Thank goodness. I think I made that comment on the podcast in April and May. Like, listen, we just need to get to the NFL because they're not going to stop and they're not going to change anything. So, kudos to them. And I mean, I'm really just looking forward to this game on Sunday. Like Nick said, the Seahawks are a good team. It should be a lot of fun to watch. Nice night game after everything is relaxed and this is the NFL, right? We have to overreact to every week. So, Patriots win, Bucks lose. Patriots are great, Bucks stink. And, of course, if it goes the opposite way this week, then everything will swing the other way. So I'm just looking forward to having another Sunday, to just follow all the scores and then be able to settle in at night and watch the main event, so to speak.
You can get 7 hours of red zone in before the Patriots.
Yep, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
What about not having the fans in the stands? Does that matter if you're watching on TV?
Not to me.
Yeah.
Nope.
I
Not
thought
on TV.
I thought the fake crowd noise sounded pretty real. Like when I was, when I found myself looking down at my phone, just checking fantasy scores or whatever, and just hearing the crowd noise from the TV. I mean, I kind of, periodically forgot we were in a pandemic and the fans weren't real. I mean, I thought whatever they did production value wise was awesome. I mean, kudos to CBS and Fox. I mean, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally sold on Cam Newton staying healthy all year, but last week was certainly exciting and it was new. And, if he does stay healthy and can keep this going, then it should be a fun season. No question about that. And like Nick said, I think they should make the playoffs. if for no other reason than their division stinks. I mean, Buffalo, please, come on, Buffalo. I just don't see it.
Well, I also liked hearing what Belichick had to say. When asked about how often Cam Newton carried the ball, and he said, "Well, those are all options." So he had the option to hand off or to keep it, and he ended up keeping it a number of times. And that flexibility, that's something new that us Patriot fans have not seen in an offense in a long time, is having a quarterback that can run the football, move around back there a little bit. Speaking of fans for a moment, I did notice one of the touchdowns, they score, then there's 1 second, 2 second, then the crowd erupted. They were a little slow on the trigger on one of them, I thought. So
I kept thinking there were penalties after every play because I'd hear the crowd erupt, and I'm like, oh, did they just throw a flag?
But it's funny, as you guys are talking, I had an idea. Why can't, because we have these COVID-19 antibody tests for, where we get the antibody blood samples out of people to help, with the convalescing drugs or whatever. What if you tested positive for COVID-19, why can't you go into a game? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that be a great way to get fans into the game? You've got the COVID-19 positive test. You don't have the symptoms anymore. You test negative now, but you have the antibodies. Sell them a ticket. Why not?
It's one idea.
No problem. Well.
Bueller? No.
I ain't going to that one.
All right.
Hey, there was 6,000 people in Cleveland last night, so hopefully that goes well.
Aren't they going to open up the stadiums to a certain number of people anyway? Second, third, fourth week, something like that in the NFL?
Some of them are. I think,
Okay.
Jacksonville and Kansas City, and I'm not sure.
So there'll be plenty of people there with antibodies and the virus itself.
We should know, just coming back to the high school stuff, that for the first 2 weeks of Cape Ann League play, there's not going to be any fans allowed in attendance. So that would obviously be no parents, no students, no, fans of Manchester Hornet field hockey or whatnot. They're going to revisit it after that 2-week period, see how it goes, see what transpired, and if they want to proceed along the same path or change that. I haven't heard yet about the Northeastern Conference. My guess would be it would be similar, but that's something to watch for. So that's where all of us will play vital roles, getting this information out.
According to Brian LaFada's presentation the other night, it was 2 family members per player and no visiting fans in the NEC.
At home games?
At home games, yeah. No visiting fans, of two family members per each player on the home team.
Okay.
You just gotta,
Well, I know in the Cape Ann League, it's none. Sorry, Willie.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, you just gotta change clothes, right? If my kid plays for Masco, I'll just wear my Danvers shirt and
And one
I don't
local
know. They
and one
really gonna
local
turn Jack
reporter.
Dean away at the door. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Did we hear about sports reporters, Phil, yet or not?
What's that?
Did we hear about sports reporters?
I haven't. Maybe I shouldn't do this, but I assume that it's okay. We're out there delivering the news. So
Essential. Essential.
Yeah, we are essential to the greater good of the sporting community.
If I happen to be out for a jog, while the game's going on, that's just a pure coincidence. And if my photographer's jogging with his gear, that's just because he's training for the Marines. He just jogs with his gear all the time.
Good thinking.
That's not sneaking in. That's just coincidence.
Good.
And if all else fails, I don't think our good friend Jamison Pelkey would turn us down over on 72 Spring Street in Danvers. We're always welcome at St. John's Prep. They'll be going full bore. So, we'll be able to get somewhere.
I know.
Well, they're going to be in deep trouble if they try to turn Rose away. I don't want to know what Rose would do to them with her various accoutrements if they tried to keep her out.
That's true. Yes. You cannot keep Rosie away. Or Fenwick.
She'll probably bring her own shield. I'm thinking, her own partition, whatever,
Yeah.
She brings a lot to the games. Yeah. So
can you help me with my bubble? Yes, of course, Rose. No problem.
in my trunk. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let me just circle back. Any other comments? We touched a little bit on the the NFL, obviously the local sports, and then. But anything else you want to talk about the NBA, NHL playoffs? I know you guys are wired into both of those. We touched a little bit on the NBA, but we got some hockey guys here, so I thought you guys should weigh in on some of what you're seeing.
Willie wrote a great piece in the paper this week in regards to that. Willie, go ahead.
I'm just pulling for Dallas. I think they're fun to watch, and it's just fun because everybody's complaining with the Bruins. You can't win with the backup goalie. And then Dallas is not only winning with the backup goalie, but they're winning with the backup goalie that the Bruins let go so they could upgrade, quote unquote. So it's just kind of funny how life comes full circle like that.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is the better team, and they're certainly going to be favored. But I'm also going to be rooting for Dallas. I think it's a great story. Like Willie said, I like the way they play. They bring a lot of jam. They're a little more talented than the Islanders, who made a nice run. I was kind of hoping they could knock off Tampa Bay, but I think ultimately they just didn't have enough talent. Although they had a pretty good goaltender that kept them in that series. So I'll be rooting for Dallas. Should be a fun final.
Good.
Does Denver have any chance to beat the Lakers? I don't follow that closely enough.
I don't know. I mean, they beat the other team they weren't supposed to beat, so I guess why not?
Oh, the clip ship? Yeah, that's true, right?
Even if they did have a chance, you think the league would let that happen? I don't. No way that there's going to be a Nuggets Heat finals. I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
All right, I want to circle back just to the high school sports scene in our minute or two that we have left here. What do we look for this coming week? So what are some things that we would look for this week regarding the high school sports scene other than teams getting back out onto the practice field this coming week?
Well, I mean, that's the big thing. I think everybody getting back into the swing of things, practice-wise, and it's as much shaking the rust off, if that's the right term you want to use, as it is learning about what these new protocols are. And, here's another thing, just getting used to wearing a mask while you're playing. I don't know about you guys, but Willie, I know you run as well. And wearing a mask when you're running is not fun. I much prefer to be going on side streets and all because nobody around and I can take my mask down. But when you're out and about and, the area that I go, it's at least at the start of it, it's a little bit populated with people and wearing a mask stinks. So to have to do it for a long stretch of time is going to take some used to for these athletes. I will say that we actually do have our first live sporting event coming up this coming Friday. Bishop Fenwick Golf is playing their first match. I believe it's on the 25th of September at Austin Prep. So, I mean, by the time we do this again, there'll have been a game in the books or a match, so to speak. So let's just hope, knock on wood here, that they can pull it off.
Yeah. Nick or Matt, any other thoughts from you guys here?
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, good seeing you, and we will talk again soon.
All right.